Okay, here's an interesting topic that I don't think I've really covered before, and that is earnest money. A lot of us are familiar with earnest money. It's a key component of any transaction, and most of us are exposed to it originally in the residential world. Earnest money is the initial deposit that you place when placing a piece of real estate under contract. It's known as the good faith deposit, and in the event that you were to default as the buyer, for example, that is the deposit that the seller is able to keep in the event that you cannot perform on the transaction. What I've always found very interesting about earnest money, first and foremost, I've only seen in one transaction I've ever worked out of all the hundreds of transactions I've worked on, I've seen one person lose their earnest money. It's very straightforward, and as long as you understand your contract and you write it correctly and you plan your transaction accordingly, it should not be hard to retain your earnest money in the event that you need to walk away from the transaction. So that, and I bring that up as a key point because I think sellers focus a lot on getting earnest money. They use it as a negotiation tactic. Let's get more earnest money from this buyer. I want a bigger deposit. I want it sooner. And in my mind, earnest money virtually means nothing because if the buyer doesn't want to buy that property, there's a very, very good chance that they're going to claw back that earnest money via the mechanisms in the contract that allow them to do so. So if I'm a seller or I'm advising my sellers, do not focus on earnest money. Focus on purchase price, focus on due diligence timelines, focus on other terms of the deal, because if the person wants to move forward with the deal, the buyer does, we're going to figure out how to not only get their deposit, but also get the entire consideration for the sale of the transaction in and of itself. In other words, the earnest money kind of doesn't mean anything, and that might be a controversial opinion, but I'm telling you, it's true in almost every instance that I've ever come across. So I'd be curious to hear what your opinions are on earnest money, if you've seen it done differently, if you've seen people lose earnest money. Like I said, I almost never have seen it. I've only seen it one time. So I just think it's a really interesting one that sellers and a lot of the market focuses on when, in my opinion, kind of doesn't matter. So you tell me what you think, and thanks for watching.